So I'm very glad to be here, and I will try to show you our modest project. Actually, our studio, Triptyque, is mostly based in São Paulo, Brazil, but 3 of the 4 partners are not Brazilian, they are French. And really, part of our motivation must have been the willing to discover this tropical nature, or maybe experience this too. But in fact, we wanted to challenge also this kind of city that Brazil have. This is São Paulo. This is actually the view you have when you are flying from Rio to São Paulo and coming to the domestic airport. It's quite frightening. It looks like you are crashing in the middle of the buildings. And this is that far from our culture and teaching. Brazil is a country of huge contrast. This is a view of Rio de Janeiro, and there are mainly everything you can find in Brazil in that picture. Nature, construction, poverty, richness, everything. Also, those cities, Rio and São Paulo, belong to a larger group of cities that does have exactly the same characteristic. I mean, a very huge urban sprawling, maybe out of control, and the necessity to find just right now some new strategy. Obviously, São Paulo specifically has a large amount of problems. Poverty is one of them. Almost 30% of the population, is still living in slum. And you can see the contrast between this city and the other one, which is made of a skyscraper. Also, the urban sprawling of São Paulo is something really out of control. And this view of São Paulo gives a false impression of what the city is made. Actually, São Paulo has no density. So recently, in 2002, the city hall has decided to modify the master plan and introduce some high density zone inside the horizontal city, which has exactly this gray zone you can see here. The result of this is quite spectacular. You have a vision of this. And those are the 2 figures now of the São Paulo of today. Simple house and skyscrapers. As you can see on this close-up, our zone is just located here next to this beautiful symmetry inside the new high-density zone, but just, you know, close to an horizontal zone. It's a fact that if the city has decided to change the use of those zones, that they have not given the rules to explore that. And really we didn't know how, we still don't know how to lead with that kind of situation, with a lot of plots, you know, with this very peculiar dimension. This is 10 by 50, 10 by 30, or 12 by something, and you have a lot of direction, a lot of construction, and a lot of empty space that may be possible to explore in a very good way. In fact, if the logic is always to buy one more plot to gain some more potential, maybe you can use it to create some new connections, some new urban formats. But actually the market is not following this, this way of thinking. It's much more interested in buy a lot or a large amount of lot, accumulate some potential, and create a monofunctional entity, which is actually gated and has absolutely no relation with the city, with the street. Our plot was just in the middle in that kind of situation. And the owner of this, actually there are 2 houses. This is one and the other one. And the plot has something like 10 by 50 meters. So we were discussing with this owner in a very way to explore better the plot he has. He was negotiating actually with the developer, and he needed a new bicycle store. So we started a very interesting discussion and tried to convince him to buy the bicycle store and develop on top of it a commercial building with a better use of the potential he gained with the change of the master plan. So after some calculation, he has decided to trust us. And the result of this is a bicycle store and a commercial building on top of it. And this was a good opportunity for us to develop a kind of typology you don't have in São Paulo. That is to say, small ateliers, small loft of 50 to 70 square meters. And in order to fix a population, just because the products that the developer are offering are mainly high-class monofunctional building, housing program, and we are trying to fix some mixed use in that zone. Still, we added this problem with the 10 meters, just because our main problem was to organize the vertical circulation in so few space. But we had some other experience with that kind of a plot, and this project stand in Harmonia Street was a 10-meter thick plot, and but the building was really low, only 2 floors, no elevator, nothing. But it was easy to organize the thing around a small square. The other one has 13 meters, which is much better, just because after the application of the urbanistic rule, the body of the building has 7 meters, which is quite a lot to organize circulation and everything. You can see the result of this and the solution, which is to make the circulation independent in the middle of the building. Still, we had this strange geometry to solve. That is 4 meters by 36. And we tried to start to fit everything inside this 4 meters. That is the staircase, the elevator, the corridor, and it's maybe the minimal space you need to organize a vertical building. But we still have another problem, which was the ventilation, the view, and the light. How we can open windows on other plots to get some natural light with these neighbors. We had a neighbor here, which is a flat apartment with some windows, bedroom windows, in direction to our plot. So it was quite impossible for us to open in a large way this side of the building. On the other one, we had this modest building, but giving a permanent view for us. And we have decided to work in this direction, which is also a view on the symmetry, very old one and very beautiful. But at this point, the developer, the client, which is not a developer, but a simple client, tell us that for him it was impossible to open window in direction to a cemetery, that no Brazilian people will work with a large window in direction to cemetery. So we had to keep the light concept, but we had to blur it also. So we started to work with a very simple square manner, using brick walls, glass brick, excuse me, with a 3 kind of density, that is to say transparency, white, and translucid. And maybe also in response to the rationalism of some building of Sao Paulo, another version of it. Those are the models in the first cage that we try to develop. And coming to the construction site, which was actually our main concern, just because in the calculation we have this necessity to reduce the budget in a very large proportion. We are talking about 400 euros per square meter. This is very few. So we had to develop a very single technology that 2 workers may be able to to build himself following our instructions. Our instructions has been developed by this printing. Quite tough work. I really don't know if the guy followed exactly what we designed. I never checked, but actually the result is quite similar. And this is the final result of it. The spaces are quite simple, and even if it's 4 meters thick, due to sometimes a very high ceiling, it gives an impression of space and light. And this is quite well adapted for example, that one, which is an artist, and he developed a quite interesting staircase, as you can see. And the vibrant effect of light inside is quite interesting. We had a very good orientation, of course, with no direct insulation on the glass bricks. And the other units are more simple. And this is the shop. Here you can see the building inside its surroundings. Obviously, at night, the light game is much more interesting as far as the building is lighting from inside to outside. And you can see on top of it, we develop also a small meeting room, which is collective just because the units are so small that we needed spaces to meet. And those are also view of the building at night with this very strange surrounding, a lot of format, horizontal, vertical, and this peculiar neighborhood is really changing in a very fast way. Other details, you can see that the shadow of the people is appearing at night and giving a living effect for this facade. Thank you.